Welcome everyone. Join us today as we delve into the life and legacy of Randy Meisner, a founding member of the iconic rock band, the Eagles. So let's dive in. Randy Meisner, born Randall Herman Meisner, on March 8, 1946 in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, in the United States of America. Growing up in a musical household, Meisner's early years were infused with the melodies of his mother's singing and the influence of his maternal grandfather, a violin teacher named George Horn. As the second child and only son of farmers Herman and Emily Meisner, Randy, alongside his elder sister Carol, was surrounded by the rich heritage of their vulgar German roots. Raised on a farm where the family cultivated crops like corn, beans, alfalfa, and sugar beets. His path diverged when, at the age of 10, he witnessed Elvis Presley's electrifying performance on The Ed Sullivan Show, igniting a passion for music within him. Enamored by the guitar, he began taking lessons and immersing himself in the local music scene. It was during his time at Scottsbluff High School that one of his teachers recognized his potential and suggested he try his hand at the bass guitar. Inspired by the soulful grooves of Motown bass players, Meisner found his calling. Unable to read music, his intuitive approach guiding his path forward. Meisner's musical journey began with the Dynamics, a local band that later transformed into the Driven Dynamics, where he honed his skills as a bassist and vocalist from 1961 to 1965. Their first professional gig took place at the dance hall of Little Moon Lake in Torrington, Wyoming, marking the start of their regular performances throughout 1962. In late 1962, the Driven Dynamics released their debut record, a 4-song EP featuring Meisner's lead vocals on Sam Cooke's You Send Me, pressed locally with a limited release of 500 copies. By August 1965, the band signed with Sully Records and recorded 3 tracks, with Meisner taking the lead on 2, including So Fine, which gained regional popularity in the southeastern U.S. In early 1966, Meisner ventured to California with the Soul Survivors, later rebranded as The Poor, navigating a challenging existence that included odd jobs to make ends meet. Managed by Charlie Green and Brian Stone, who also oversaw acts like Buffalo Springfield and Sonny and Cher, The Poor released singles on Loma York and Decca Records in 1966 and 1967 with limited success. Among their recordings was She's Got the Time, She's Got the Changes, produced by Barry Friedman and featured in the 1967 film Hell's Angels on Wheels. Amidst their journey, the Poor landed a 2-week gig at the Salvation Club in New York City during the summer of 1967, serving as the opening act for the Jimi Hendrix Experience. However, the experience fell short of their expectations, with limited performance opportunities and a struggle to secure their return flight funds from management. Rev Ola later released a CD compilation of the Poor's music in 2003, featuring a track penned by Meisner titled Come Back Baby. In May 1968, following an audition alongside Timothy B. Schmidt, Meisner joined Poco alongside Rusty Young and former Buffalo Springfield members Richie Fiore and Jim Messina. Meisner contributed to the group's debut album, Pickin' Up the Pieces, but departed shortly before its release. His departure stemmed from frustration at being excluded from the final mix playback sessions, which only involved Messina and Fiore. Consequently, his image was removed from the album cover artwork and replaced with a dog, although his bass parts and backing vocals remained in the mix. However, his lead vocals were replaced by George Grantham. In April 1969, Meisner joined Rick Nelson's Stone Canyon Band and advocated for the hiring of his former bandmates from The Poor, Alan Kemp on guitar and Pat Shanahan on drums. With the addition of pedal steel guitarist Tom Brumley, previously of Buck Owens' band, the lineup was complete. Meisner contributed to albums like In Concert at the Troubadour 1969 and Rudy V. He also featured prominently in Easy to Be Free, a documentary chronicling the Stone Canyon Band's 1969 tour, directed by Rick Nelson's brother David. While not performing on Nelson's Garden Party, Meisner co-authored one of the album's tracks, I Wanna Be With You. Additionally, he remained active as a session musician, playing bass on tracks for James Taylor's Sweet Baby James album and Waylon Jennings's Singer of Sad Songs. After a challenging European tour with Nelson and the Stone Canyon Band, Meisner returned to Nebraska in the spring of 1970 and took up a job at the local John Deere tractor dealership. During evenings, he played with a band called Gold Rush, alongside Stephen A. Love, who would later join the New Riders of the Purple Sage. Encouraged by Nelson, Meisner returned to Los Angeles later that year to pursue his music career. He juggled his time between establishing Gold Rush, performing with the Stone Canyon Band, and recording sessions for artists like Jon Stewart and Compton and Bateau. By mid-1971, Meisner was recruited by John Boylan to join Linda Ronstadt's team of backing musicians, which included future Eagles members Don Henley, Glenn Frey, and Bernie Leadon. In September 1971, Meisner, Henley, Frey, and Leadon came together to form the Eagles. The band quickly gained traction, signing with David Geffen's newly established label, Asylum Records, and releasing their self-titled debut album in 1972. While primarily handling bass duties and providing backing vocals, Meisner also contributed significantly to the band's songwriting and lead vocals. He penned, co-wrote, and/or sang lead-on tracks across the group's first 5 albums, including standout hits like Take It to the Limit, the Eagles' inaugural million-selling single, and Try and Love Again. Additionally, Meisner co-wrote Certain Kind of Fool with Frey and Henley, showcasing his versatility and talent within the band's dynamic lineup. During the 1976-77 tour in support of the album Hotel California, Meisner faced health challenges and exhaustion as the band traveled extensively for over 11 months. Preferring to avoid the spotlight, Meisner found himself at odds with the band's expectations, particularly during performances of his signature song, Take It to the Limit. His health issues, coupled with personal struggles and tensions within the group, culminated in a backstage confrontation with fellow member Glenn Frey. Feeling isolated and marginalized, Meisner made the difficult decision to depart from the Eagles after the tour's conclusion. His final performance with the band took place in East Troy, Wisconsin, on September 3, 1977. Timothy B. Schmidt, who had previously succeeded Meisner in Poco, was selected as his replacement, solidifying the Eagles' lineup for years to come. Meisner formally resigned from the Eagles in September 1977, citing exhaustion. While there is debate surrounding whether he refused to perform Take It to the Limit during a concert, with conflicting reports suggesting he did sing the song but declined to return for a third encore, Meisner maintained that the tensions and arguments within the band were behind him. Following his departure from the Eagles, Meisner embarked on a solo career, releasing albums in 1978, Randy Meisner, and in 1980, One More Song. His 1978 album, co-produced with Alan Brackett, received mixed reviews, with Meisner later admitting it was not conceptualized to its best. The album included one song co-written by Meisner and featured a new arrangement of Take It to the Limit, with Meisner playing bass on just one track. He explained that contractual obligations required him to record an album for Elektra Records before pursuing his own artistic direction. His 1980 album, One More Song, produced by Val Garay, showcased Meisner's songwriting talent, with 6 of the 9 tracks co-written by him. The title track featured backing vocals by his former Eagles bandmates Don Henley and Glenn Frey. Throughout the early 1980s, Meisner toured with his band, Randy Meisner and the Silverados, featuring Greg Palmer on bass, Todd Smith on guitar, Sterling Smith on keyboards, Don Francisco on percussion and background vocals, and Therese Heston on background vocals. In 1982, he released another album on CBS titled Randy Meisner, produced by Mike Flicker, known for his work with Heart. The album was recorded at Kendon Recorders in Burbank, California, and featured members of Heart, including the Wilson sisters. The revamped Silverados lineup included Dixon House on keyboards, Denny Carmassi on drums, Tom Arack on bass, and John Corey on guitar. The album spawned a top 20 hit, Never Been in Love, written by Craig Bickhart. In 1985, Meisner joined the all-star band Black Tie, alongside Jimmy Griffin of Bread and Billy Swan. Their cover of Buddy Holly's Learning the Game became a hit on U.S. country radio. Session musician Blondie Chaplin and former Eagles member Bernie Leadon joined Black Tie for their U.S. tour in early 1986. They released one album together in 1990 titled When the Night Falls, with Jimmy Griffin eventually departing and being replaced by Charlie Rich Jr. The band was then renamed Meisner, Rich and Swan, or Meisner, Swan and Rich, touring extensively in the 1990s and recording an album released on September 11, 2001, but failed to attract much attention at the time. Additionally, from 1987 to 1989, Meisner formed a band and toured with former Firefall singer-songwriter Rick Roberts, known as the Roberts-Meisner Band, with drummer Ron Grinnell, guitarist Bray Gillier, and lead guitarist Kerry Park. They recorded several songs, but the interest from record companies was not as expected. In 1989 and 1990, Meisner reunited with Poco for the Legacy album and tour, during which Call It Love became a top 20 single in the U.S. He sang lead on the Richard Marx-composed Nothing to Hide, which also sold well for the band. However, Meisner expressed disappointment and hurt at being excluded from the Eagles' 1994 resumption tour, Hell Freezes Over. In an interview with the television program American Journal, Meisner revealed that he had contacted the band's manager Irving Azoff when he heard rumors of the band reforming, but was brushed off. He expressed frustration at not being acknowledged for his contributions to 6 of the band's albums, stating, "You'd think that you would be mentioned if you helped with 6 of the albums, but they act as though I never even played with them." Despite this, he harbored no resentment towards his former bandmates Don Henley and Glenn Frey. The Eagles' 1998 appearance at the New York City induction ceremony for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame featured all 7 past and present members of the Eagles, during which his successor, Timothy B. Schmidt, paid tribute to Meisner in his acceptance speech. Meisner reunited with the Drive and Dynamics for a performance in 2000 when the band, along with Meisner as a solo performer, was inducted into the Nebraska Music Hall of Fame. Throughout the 2000s, he continued to perform as part of the World Classic Rockers touring group. However, after experiencing severe chest pains and being hospitalized in August 2004, Meisner scaled back his touring schedule, with his last known public performance occurring in 2008 in Naples, Florida. Despite being invited by the Eagles to take part in their History of the Eagles World Tour in 2013, he declined due to health issues. However, in September 2018, during the Eagles' North American leg, he was acknowledged for attending a concert at the Forum in Inglewood, California, which was later released. Meisner also made special guest appearances at 2 Richie Furay livestream concerts, singing backup harmony on the Buffalo Springfield song For What It's Worth in August 2020 and providing background vocals on the Poco song, picking up the pieces in October 2020. Additionally, he appeared as a special guest on Joe Walsh's old-fashioned rock and roll radio show in November 2020, chatting with his friend and former Eagles bandmate Joe Walsh on the independent KCSN 88.5 FM. Meisner reportedly battled periodic alcohol dependency from the late 1960s onward, particularly during his time with the Eagles, as he grappled with the challenges of newfound fame. Following minor heart attacks in 2004, he was compelled to reduce his touring commitments, and as his health continued to decline, he eventually ceased performing altogether. His final known public appearance was in 2008 in Naples, Florida. In March 2013, Meisner faced another health scare when he lost consciousness in his California home due to a piece of food obstructing his breathing while eating, leading to his hospitalization. Although doctors were hopeful about his recovery, Meisner spent some time in a coma and was too weakened to participate in the History of the Eagles tour, alongside ex-bandmate Bernie Leadon, who did take part. He later disclosed that his former Eagles bandmates had covered the medical expenses resulting from his hospitalization. Personally, Meisner married twice in his lifetime. His first marriage was to his high school sweetheart, Jennifer Lee Barton, in 1963. The couple welcomed their first child, Dana Scott Meisner, in November of the same year. They went on to have twins, Heather Lee and Eric Shane Meisner, born in May 1970, before ultimately divorcing in 1981. Later, Meisner married Lana Ray, his partner of 12 years, in November 1996. Their marriage endured until her passing in 2016. In April 2015, rumors circulated, stemming from a lawsuit filed on his behalf, suggesting that Lana was exploiting his addictions to alcohol and drugs by attempting to keep him intoxicated. Subsequently, a temporary conservator was appointed by the Los Angeles County Superior Court to manage Meisner's medical needs. Despite this, on March 6, 2016, Lana was tragically shot and killed in their home in Studio City, California, in an accidental discharge of a rifle she was handling. Meisner, who was in another part of the house at the time, had no involvement in the incident. Following the tragedy, he was placed under psychiatric hold due to previous threats of suicide and mental health concerns. Sadly, on July 25, 2023, Randy Meisner passed away in Los Angeles at the age of 77 due to complications related to COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Meisner was remembered for his kindness by many who knew him. Don Felder, James Taylor, and Rick Roberts all praised him as one of the nicest individuals they had worked with. Despite his talent, Meisner's shyness sometimes made performing challenging, as noted by Don Henley. Felder added that Meisner had a wonderful heart and a loving soul. Henry Diltz, who photographed Meisner extensively, described him as a gentle and friendly person, a Pisces, noting his quiet and unassuming nature. And there you have it. As we bid farewell, let's celebrate Randy Meisner's enduring legacy and the timeless melodies that continue to resonate with fans around the globe. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for more videos just like this. Take care and bye for now.